Welcome to Scrub In, a podcast powered by Bayhealth. I am your host, Sarah Beebe.
And I am your co-host, Tyler Cody.
Thank you for joining us as we ask ourselves to scrub in.
And talk more about our why behind the healthcare uniform.
Well, welcome back to Scrub In, our episode 5. Tyler, how have you been?
Good. How are you doing, Sarah?
Good. So today we are interviewing our hospital president and CEO.
Yes, we are. What a day.
Yeah. Have you worked with Terry Murphy, our president, at all?
I haven't worked with Terry closely on anything, but I do see him in the hallway. I see him in the gift shop. I see him all over the hospital, and he always has a bright smile, always greets me, always shakes my hand. He's just a very personable individual.
I agree. I think our hospital is really unique in how much we see our president.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's always got a great blazer on.
He does.
Yeah, I agree.
Looks sharp 100% of the time.
I agree. Yeah. So I'm really excited to hear his story and hear what brought him to Bayhealth, what brought him to this type of leadership, and I think it's going to be a really great interview.
Absolutely. I think many are waiting to hear all this.
Yeah. So before we get started, we're going to start with our quote, which today is, "A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." And that's from John Maxwell. So, yeah. Awesome. So we'd like to introduce Terry Murphy, the president and CEO of Bayhealth here in Delaware. Welcome, Terry.
Good morning.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Tyler. It's very nice words, and it's a pleasure to be with you this morning. This is just a lot of fun, and thank you for having me today.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. So, Terry, tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I actually grew up as the fifth child of 7 kids, so a very large family. Actually on the beaches of Florida, in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. So I enjoyed the outdoors. I think as number 5 of 7, I think my mom and dad kind of lost track. So I had a lot of freedom to run around as a young child. And it was just a great childhood. I studied I got a degree in biology at a very small Catholic school in North Carolina, but I was more interested in the business aspects and decided to start taking business classes and was accepted into the George Washington University, and it was specifically for health services administration. So I wanted to work in a hospital. I wanted to be on the business side of being in the hospital. I love the concept of not-for-profit healthcare and making people better and working with clinicians. It was something that interested me at a very early age. And so I was lucky enough to get into George Washington University, and it just was a great upbringing and early education through Belmont and George Washington.
Great. I am also an alumni of George Washington University, so we share that, which is wonderful. That's where I got my PhD in nursing, and
it's a great school.
It's a wonderful school, so we do share that. Now, what brought you to Bayhealth?
So my career actually is part of the George Washington master's program. You had to do a 1-year residency where you spent a year working for a CEO, kind of following the CEO around, watching their leadership, learning how hospitals operated, basically serving in a lot of different departments, clinical and non-clinical, just learn over a year. And I did that down at a hospital near Cocoa Beach, Florida. So I spent a year doing that, and then I ended up working in that hospital for 15 years. I was chief operating officer at the end of the 15 years, and then I moved to Maryland to get an open heart surgery program started at a hospital that's now a MedStar hospital in Metro DC, because I had an interest in getting that going. And there was an opportunity that came open to be an on-site administrator at what was then the Milford Hospital, and that was in 2001. And I interviewed and was offered the job, and so I came to Bayhealth originally at the Milford Hospital right before September 11th in 2001, so a
Wow.
very memorable time historically. And I became Chief Executive Officer in 2009. So it's been great. I enjoy the work. I enjoy seeing the evolution of the health system and what we can do for our communities. And it's just been a pleasure. And I just love the people I work with, the people at Bayhealth. It's been a great experience professionally.
That's awesome.
The organization has really grown in that time. Since
Yeah.
2009, all of the things that we've accomplished as an organization, I think that's very impressive.
Yeah, I came here as a bedside nurse in 2010. So right after you took your role as the leader. So I didn't realize that you had only been in that role for just a short time when I came on. So I remember you being here when, then, and then I've
And at the
gone
Milford
out.
Hospital too, right?
And at the
Yep.
Milford
Yep.
Hospital, yes, which is no longer our main Sussex hospital. So that's awesome. I didn't realize that we had a fairly similar time frame there.
It is a great the culture, the people at Bayhealth are just truly special, and it's easy to get up early every day and to do the work. It's complex. There's a lot of things in healthcare that make it difficult, but because of the people, it just makes it so much easier to get our work done.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I think we've discussed on previous episodes how our team really just inspires us to work together
absolutely.
and enjoy everything that we're doing.
Yeah, we've talked to a number of people who either lead teams or are part of really cohesive teams here at Bay Health, and that's one thing that has kind of echoed across our episodes is that we have a lot of really strong teams here and leadership that helps support that as well. So that's great. Yeah. Now tell me a little bit about your leadership style and how you like to lead here.
Well, this isn't. It takes so many different things. It's a very complex thing in healthcare. I think it was Peter Drucker that coined it the most complex organization someone could be involved in because of it just takes so many different people. We have 4,300 staff members, and everyone plays a different role. And it doesn't, and it starts with good governance, and it goes down to every job within the organization, of which there are probably 450, 500 types of jobs. And when you're dealing with humans and you're taking care of people, you have to do that well. So it's really about focusing on individuals and individuals' personal and work needs. It's about good leadership, good communication, holding folks accountable, creating a culture where you can have fun with what you're doing as well. So and I think really importantly focusing on professional development and really helping people see opportunities in their careers to do more, to grow, make a better living, all those things. And I think it's really just trying to encourage that through being successful, through good strategies, and having a culture where people can feel that and be encouraged by that to do more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you made a good point that there are so many different types of jobs and it's about the individual. I truly believe that people are the experts of their own job and
Right.
that it's okay to lean on those experts. And that's why we work the way that we do is that, you know, I'm an expert in simulation and nursing, but I'm not an expert in environmental services or
Right.
in,
Right.
some other area. And so it's amazing to watch when we're given the opportunity to be an expert and that we're trusted in that role, how well we work together.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so important about magnet designation and just this idea of shared governance. And I don't know the best way to run a particular unit, and it's really having folks that are involved in the work every day, being involved, having a voice, bringing research into the work. How can we do it better? So I'm a big believer. It takes 4,200 people and their expertise in whatever that expertise is, working well together in a team environment with one another. And if you do that and encourage that, I think again, it just makes it a little bit easier to get this very important work. The work that we do is there's nothing that's more meaningful when someone talks about professional work than being in a hospital and taking care of individuals. The impact on not only the patients but their family members, it is extremely important. And it's not just those that are at the bedside, it's everyone that supports. Again, we all have to be working together in order to get this important, meaningful work done.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I agree. I've mentioned this story before, but over the summer, my mother was in an ICU, and I stayed in the room with her for most of the day, every day, and it was amazing to watch the team that took care throughout the day. So we had the same woman from EVS that came in multiple times a day to mop her floor, and she took the time to move things out of the way and get under her bed and make sure that every inch of that room had been cleaned. And we even had a discussion about the cleaner that she was using, because I noticed by the smell, I was like, that smells like vinegar. And she was able to tell me, like, oh, we know that this cleaner kills things better than
Right?
something else.
Exactly.
But she had and I would thank her every day for caring for my mother in that way. And then somebody else would come in and clean my mom up, and somebody else would come in from, from the chaplain's office or something. And everybody had a role to play in this one patient's care. And it was amazing to see how that all fit in from a family member, because I'm not usually the person in the room as the family member. And so it was interesting to see how that all fit in, and how much better her care was because of that. And that's
Well,
awesome.
it's better. These are very stressful things that individuals and
Yeah.
their families are going through. It's stressful beyond belief. In most cases, people may not have the true understanding of the situation, and it's about expectations, but you can see where everyone pulling together and being consistent and having expectations of giving great care and taking care of the patient and their families can have a huge impact in people's lives.
Yes.
That's what makes our work so meaningful in every job of Bayhealth.
Yeah.
And I think when people think of Bayhealth, they think of those experiences and those
Hmm.
positive interactions that they have with our staff. And I think that every staff member has a role to play to kind of create that impression,
I
really
agree.
represent the organization. And
Yeah.
it helps to have a leader too that incites that passion in everyone. And I think we can feel your passion pretty well.
Well,
Yeah.
that's very nice of you to say that, Tyler. I think it comes from. I think about this often. So, coming from a family of seven, my mom, who was a German heritage, had to have a lot of control, because if you can imagine, seven is a lot.
That is a lot.
And the last five were 1 year apart each.
Lord.
So I know, as a father of three girls, that would be such a difficult thing. But she was an emergency room registrar, actually, and she instilled really what I think is a desire to help other people, and I think of that. And I think of the people that do the work every day in healthcare. These are individuals that have come through the worst time in our history, that come in to take care of other people every day, and it's very inspiring to me.
That's awesome. So you grew up in shared governance as a member of seven.
It's a very shared governance
I
council.
tried to avoid it, but yes, I did grow up in
I'm sure you knew
shared
how to advocate for yourself in
Oh,
that governance.
very well, very well, and that shaped a lot about having a voice. The further you go down the line, you learn that you've got to fight for that voice and speak up. But yeah, absolutely, it had a lot
Yeah.
to do with it.
Now, is shared governance something that is, I've only ever been been in healthcare. So is shared governance something that you see in other industries, or is that something that's unique to healthcare?
I think it's actually growing quite a bit. I know things like a daily huddle and some of the work things that are some of the things we utilize in healthcare are definitely growing into other areas. I think business leaders and other businesses realize the importance of shared governance, having team members have a voice in the work. Again, I'm not the subject matter expert in the things that are done every day. I know healthcare, administration, but all these other things, you have to rely on others and give them the voice to do the work and support them.
Yeah.
Part of our executive leadership rounding is to find out what's working well and how we can remove barriers. As leaders, that's our role. We've got to remove those barriers. We've got to fight for our team members. Every leader should be fighting for everyone on their team, both at work as well as their needs at home, and how can we be supportive. And I think if we do those things, it just makes a better workplace.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've talked about that before, how a really good leader fosters that growth in someone.
I
like
think-
takes the time to actually just help them pursue exactly what it is they want to do in life.
Yeah, and actually, I think our chief nursing executive Rosie, when we interviewed her a few episodes ago, she said something very similar about removing the barriers and allowing the staff to be able to do what they're best at. And
Absolutely.
And so it's
Cornerstone.
yeah, it's interesting that you both said almost identical things.
You must work together.
You do. I wonder
that's
if you know
creepy.
her.
Yes, we do work together.
Yes.
It's a pleasure.
So, one thing that we ask on this podcast, and the purpose of this podcast, is getting to everyone's why.
Right.
Why do you do what you do? And so, tell us why do you do what you do?
It's interesting. There's actually a quote out there that I think it's from Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche, that says that those that have a why can deal with almost any how. And if you think of life today, there's so many challenges socially and just in day-to-day living and work. So I'm a big believer in the why. Like a lot of people, I'm really my why is really related to my family and my faith, and I think it's if you have those that you love, that you're doing, it just is easy to get up and do what I do every day. So I have 3 daughters. They're adult daughters. They're all professional and working as productive members of society. And my wife and I have been together 33 years. We're life partners, and it's that's why I do it. But I'm a spiritual person as well. So spirituality, seeing as much of the environment and being outside is very important to me. So these are all things that I think drive me, but also I think professionally, continuing to evolve an organization. And we've become a teaching hospital, and I get a lot of pride when I see Bayhealth evolving into a teaching organization, or to growing and to doing more and to helping the community more. So all those things I think drive me, but it's centered really on my family and my faith. That's what really makes me get up every day and do what I do. And it makes it very easy. And I have a grandson as well, so that's just the cherry on top that makes it even that much better. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
So, and that really speaks to how your wellness as well in a high-powered position, a stressful position.
Yeah.
What else do you do to keep that balance?
So I love basketball, so I do play basketball, and I play tennis. So I'm active physically and mentally. I just took up playing the piano. So I used to play this as a young kid when I was forced to play.
Yep.
And now, since all 3 of my girls are out of the house and there's still a piano hanging in a corner, I thought, well, that's one way to take some time and to relax a little bit. So I started taking piano lessons from someone who's older than me, which is kind of nice. And I take lessons at the music school here in Milford, and I enjoy playing piano now, and I'm getting ready for the Christmas holidays, picking up some new pieces.
Oh, awesome. So classical piano?
Oh, I'm not that far yet.
Okay. Okay. Because I've got a good band that could always use another keyboard player. So my mother-in-law has a band, and
Well, give me a call in 2034, Sarah.
oh, okay, all right,
2034.
sounds good.
Thanks.
I love that you have these foundations and you've explored new things to kind of help yourself unwind from everyday life. Like you just went and learned the piano. I think that's.
I'm getting there. I'm learning the piano.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tyler. But and I'm sure the 8-year-old that goes right before me at the music school is so far ahead of me already. So I'm looking forward to it. It is a great way to unwind and find time to keep your mind active and to learn something new. I think that's very important in life. And so yeah, it's been very enjoyable. It's something I like to do, and it's one of the things I do away from work.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you also a huge basketball fan as well? You mentioned basketball.
I just like playing basketball. I am a
Interesting.
tennis
Okay.
fan, and I like to venture every once in a while to see a tennis match, but I'm not as much of a fan in basketball, but I just really enjoy the sport, and it's a team sport. So
Okay,
I just like that aspect of basketball as well.
that's awesome. Yeah. Great. Well, as we're getting ready to closing, is there anything else you want to share with our audience that we haven't talked about yet?
I would say that it's just been a great pleasure to work with everyone, and thanks for first of all doing the podcast. This is fantastic. I really enjoy the complex work that happens every day with our medical staff leaders, our clinical leaders, and our support areas all working together. You have to have a good strategy because if you don't have a great strategy, you end up not doing well. You really have to have a good culture. They say culture eats strategy for lunch every day. So you have to have a culture that supports that. And it's just a pleasure to work with so many different individuals with so many different backgrounds to do the work that we do every day. So it's just a great pleasure of mine to represent the Bayhealth organization. And again, thanks for doing what you're doing on this podcast as well. I think it's great to shine light on other individuals, and this has just been a pleasure this morning.
Yeah. Well, we've certainly enjoyed hearing your story. I love what you have to say about, about a team working together. And I do have to say, I haven't worked somewhere where I knew the president by first name. So it's been really fun to be able to get to know you. And when you stop by my office, it's just so wonderful. And so, yeah.
Well, Sarah, you can call me Terrence anytime. It's a pleasure to see the two of you around in your respective roles as well. It's great. It's what makes it fun. And again, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you
Well,
for
thank
joining
you for
us.
joining
Yeah,
us.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Yes, thank you.
Join us for our next episode by subscribing to this podcast and telling your friends to do the same.
Click plus or follow so you don't miss an episode. Don't forget to keep up with us all on social media channels by following @Bayhealth.
And remember, there is a why behind every healthcare uniform.